this is fantastic because it's always wonderful when we can overcome barriers, technological barriers, any kind of barriers in our life. So I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Monday. Let me know if you can hear me and if I'm coming in clearly. And if I'm still live, I don't know, but I hope I'm live. Welcome, everyone. I guess I should just peek over. Yeah, it looks like I'm live. Yep. Good. Okay, well, let me go ahead and get into it because we've been behind. We were a little bit late, but that's okay. That's sometimes what it takes. We're back for another week, season 2. Wonderful guests to share their story. I hope everybody's feeling fantastic. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to my Mayhem Streamcast, and I'm DJ, your host for tonight's conversation. We're here to share stories and experiences. We want to destigmatize and normalize mental health. We want to talk about disability and trauma, and we want a place to share our mayhem, create opportunities through connections, and be a voice to break stigmas and encourage acceptance. That's why I'm here every week. I always add my trigger warning. I want to encourage discretion as we talk about things that can be difficult. Just depends on the episode and the topic. And sometimes it can be a little bit mature in nature. So again, these are our opinions that we're going to talk about. And I always like to stress that. But we're back for another episode. I'm super excited. I really appreciate everyone that is here. If you're in the chat, welcome. Let's see who's in the chat. Hi, Jules. I see Jules is in the chat. Here we go. I know I kind of got a little bit behind. I think all of social media is in a frenzy, tizzy, whatever the word is. Hi, Gabe. I saw you, Mackenzie. I did see you. Hi. Happy Monday to you. Thank you for being the best mod ever. Katie J is here. Welcome. I appreciate you. Always here. Yes, I mean, technical issues. Absolutely. We've learned this after almost a full year of streaming. It's always something. And I think I don't even freak out anymore because I feel like we're going to get to it when we get to it. And it'll be fine, right? Hi, James. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate the support. Hi, Chris. Long time since it's been a while since you've been around. Melissa, hey, how are you? This is so fantastic. Welcome. Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I think so. I think there's some movement now on Facebook. So, whatever. It is what it is. Whatever's going on over there. I know it's been all over the news, but that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about disability employment awareness. This is something that is so close to my heart because this is what I do every day. Yes, I have a real job. Every day I work 40 hours. And then at night I sit here and I try to prepare for this and I try to, get the side hustle just like all of us. But I do work in this topic of disability employment and it's something that's really near and dear to my heart. So I'm really excited. And I had to bring one of the best ever. I know, even we're going to get to it. I know, practice talking to yourself. So funny, but let's bring our guest out because she's amazing. She is with Diversity Outreach Partners and she's going to join us to share her knowledge. She's a talent acquisition leader, passion for diversity recruiting, which I love, for people with disabilities and veterans. Hello, we love our veterans. She's got years of experience building and improving programs to meet federal guidelines. Yes, federal guidelines, okay, ADA law. I hope we talk about that. And she loves to assist hundreds of candidates to find the right organization for their skills. So we're going to be talking about how we can help people with disabilities obtain jobs, how we can encourage companies to implement job accommodation processes to ensure accessibility for all applicants through the processes, through the hiring, and as they become employees, and retaining those employees. And we also want to figure out how we can utilize what we've learned through this pandemic to be more accessible and equitable in our business practices. I hope I did her justice. I hope that was a wonderful introduction. Let's bring out my friend. There she is, Mary.
Hey, how are you, DJ? Hi,
we did
audience. It's wonderful to see you guys. I know we did it. Technical issues and all. Thank you guys for waiting for us.
I know, it's so wonderful. Look at that. Juana, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, Mary. I hope you know some of the names in the chat. Now, I know you're mobile.
I do.
So you
yes.
can't, but can you see the chat?
I can see some of it a little bit. I can see the names. I just can't see the comments. So, yes. So
Okay, well, we'll try to pull up some comments. Proud supporter of veterans here. Yes, James, thank you. So important supporting our military members and family. Jude, hello, welcome. I appreciate you also joining us in the conversation. This is really fantastic. Did I miss anybody? I know there's a LinkedIn user says hi, yay, Mary. So I'm not sure, LinkedIn user, if you want to share your name. But Mary, this is great. This is really important. This is what we do.
this
Passion,
is, and
soul.
you did such a great job with my introduction. I am just very flattered with all of those nice words. I still remember when we met and we just had so much to talk about. And we both share the same passion. I know mine streams from my work at the last big company where I worked in HR compliance. I moved into doing a huge college recruiting project for people with disabilities or students with disabilities and student veterans, some of which have disabilities as well. And then it moved into starting an affiliate for Disability In, so a national organization, but starting the local North Texas affiliate. And I just love this space. I love everything about it. It's fun. I love mentoring people. I love building awareness. I love doing speaking opportunities. I love sharing stories and things like that on LinkedIn. I just really like helping as well as sharing best practices with other companies who are really starting their journey. So it's fun, fun
It
place.
is fun. It is fun. And it's not always the easiest. Oh, it's
Mm-mm.
definitely not the
No,
easiest.
no.
Takes a lot of grit. Yes.
That is a good word for it. And one of the things I've realized is sometimes you need to be happy with the baby steps. So I'll tell you about it. I recently joined Lennox International as a talent acquisition manager, and I have responsibility for the biggest business unit there. And so one of the things I learned is that we really weren't doing much in the disability space, but they were very excited about some of my ideas. So we just did our first ever video on Endeam last week, and it was just put on the intranet. And so I am just so excited that, again, it's a baby step. We don't have an employee resource group, but who knows? That could be next. I could be sitting here in a year in 2022, and I could be talking about how we started an employee resource group for disability. So, again, so many different opportunities, but you need to start someplace. So you're going to hear me say that several times, but you need to start someplace and do something.
I agree. And I think today and this conversation is a really great platform that we can share and how we can help others like just implement small things
Mhm.
to just become more accessible and be more inclusive and continue those conversations daily. They
Mhm.
need to be had daily, like thought and considered into everything, all our practices. I
I
know it
agree completely.
as a able-bodied person
Mhm.
for the most
Mhm.
part. I know
Mhm.
that, sometimes it's very hard to identify what someone else could be experiencing. But the best thing I know that I found is asking others.
Mhm.
Just being very open about it and saying, you know, um, we're available if you need any accommodations, just let me know.
Mhm.
And then just keep the conversation moving. You leave it there. And then when that person feels comfortable, because I know a lot of this revolves around disclosure.
Mhm.
Disclosure is such a big one, and that's a whole episode in itself.
Yes.
But
Yes.
really encouraging disclosure of our disabilities to really gain opportunity.
And that's like you said, it's a really big topic. One of the things I have done is I've helped with doing accommodations presentations as well as doing disclosure presentations for
Yeah.
students. Because a lot of times students are used to self accommodating on campus, and maybe they don't need an accommodation in the interview process, but maybe they start to work and they realize, oh, this is really different than school, and I really could use maybe some special computer equipment, or maybe I need a different chair, or something else. So,
Mhm.
you can see my fancy sleeves that I
Oh.
wear. I know they're pretty cool. I have many different patterns, many different sleeves that I wear just to make it a little bit fun. But like you were talking before, just if somebody has a disability, a lot of times they're used to people coming up and asking questions. I have people do that very respectfully.
Mhm.
You'll laugh at this story. So I was in the gym last week, and I'm usually not matchy in the gym, but I had on black leggings, and then I had a kind of like a fuchsia type shirt, and then I had these sleeves, but they were fuchsia and black, and they were tie dye. So, kind of fun
Ooh.
for working out. And so some guy actually came up to me. He said, "You look." I at first I thought he was hitting on me, and then I realized what he was saying. He's like, "You look so good in that outfit." I think he realized that, or he thought that I was just being all matchy with everything looking, which I hadn't even thought about that. But people have different comfort levels, and I've had several people come up to me in the gym and ask about it because I think I wear them because I'm cold. And I actually wear them because I'm a breast cancer survivor, so that's why I'm wearing pink today for Breast Cancer
Breast
Awareness
cancer
Month.
awareness.
And so almost 5 years, I'm very proud of that.
Yay.
But I
Oh,
have swelling as a result of some of the surgeries that I've had, and they can't figure it out. And so I have to wear the sleeves so that I don't have pain and I don't have carpal tunnel in my wrists.
mhm.
And so anyway, but a lot of people, they don't, they see people wearing something different, or maybe you're walking with a cane, or maybe
Oh,
you're
yes.
doing something differently than, like you said, an able-bodied person, and it just looks weird. And so I'm perfectly fine when people come up to me and they ask about it, and we generally have a conversation, and it's usually a different conversation than they expect. But again, people do it very respectfully, and I'm perfectly fine when people come up with questions like that because they just want to know.
Yeah, and it's part of the I think as advocates and just,
Mhm,
just educating, it's part of our job to really
mhm.
just help people gain a little insight, just maybe understand a little bit better, right? Baby steps, just a little. Doesn't have to be much. I'm happy with just a baby step myself. I've talked about this before. All right, I want to
Yes.
draw attention to the chat because I thought it was great. I know there was some side stuff in
Mhm,
there. I wanted to say hi to Finding Cherry. So hi Finding Cherry. Thank you for being here. Safe driving, please. Safe driving. Let's see. I know there's some side conversation. Chris, great. Thank you for being here. How can bringing humanity together and I help in this great cause and mission, DJ and Mary? So that's nice. Thank you for coming and offering and how we can collaborate. I mean, that's why we're here, just really trying to find and encourage businesses, entities,
mhm,
organizations, agencies. How can we encourage you? Or if not, reach out to one of us because we're available. We want to,
mhm.
really help others be more make their practices accessible. So what we were saying, but yeah, we can always talk. Best way to contact you real quick, Mary.
So it's probably on LinkedIn. I'm very
Okay.
active on LinkedIn, and while I don't do as much posting as I used to, I will get to that point again when
Mhm.
I'm done hiring my dream team at my new job. One of the things I did want to get back to that question in terms of what people, yeah, what people can do, I would say choose something. So whether you're a hiring manager, whether you own your own company, you're an employer, an employee, you're an ally for people with disabilities, do
Yes.
something. So do something to try and, find a new organization that helps people with disabilities find jobs. Or maybe what you can do is you can befriend somebody who has a disability at work, and maybe you can ask them some questions in a polite and dignified way. Maybe you can volunteer for an organization. One of the things I did last year, and I really actually had a lot of fun, within my kids' school district. So my kids are, two of them are in college and one's in high school still. They have something called Project Search. And so what they do is they actually have probably about 20 kids where they are in their 13th year. So they've graduated, but they're still in the school district, and they're doing an internship. And so they have to apply, and they have to go through that whole process. And so in addition to working at a hospital or at Louisville City Hall, or maybe at a hotel or something like that, they also have education sessions every week. So maybe it's on interviewing, maybe it's on
Yeah.
resume writing, maybe it's on networking or whatever it is. So I actually participated, and I did email mentoring, where I was
Ooh.
assigned somebody, and once about every 6 weeks, he sent me a professional email with a whole bunch of questions. And it was
Okay.
really just practicing back and forth. What kind of business etiquette do you need when
Yeah.
you do email? Because that's what a lot of
Yes, part of
communication
it.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And so that was kind of fun. And so I would go back and forth and we would have conversations that way. And then I'd get a new topic, new questions in 6 weeks. And then I also did interviews. So we did mock interviews. And then I actually had a little rubric where I kind of graded or gave
Yep.
feedback, on some people. And I had 3 of them. And 2 of them did pretty well. And one needed a little bit more work, but that's why they were doing it. So there are so many different ways that you can get involved in helping people. And it can be students with disabilities, it could be
Mhm.
adults, it could be an
There's all
employer
kinds of
resource
clubs and
group that you have.
organizations in your
Exactly.
communities, that and
Hmm.
right now with isolation,
Yeah,
isolation,
it's
that's
tough.
it was tough before, but it's tough now. I
Hmm.
mean, it's more
Hmm.
difficult now. It really is not, just on
Yep.
anyone. So, given that, right, reaching out. I always talk about connecting and, just takes one person, so just reach
Hmm.
out, making effort, if
Yep.
you can. If you can, I know that's not for everyone, and not everyone can do that. Just trying to encourage the community to find ways to incorporate um, ways to enhance our quality of life, right? And our
Hmm.
dignity and our autonomy, because that's really a big part of what relates back to our mental health, right? And our self worth. And, we all want to be quote unquote successful in
Hmm.
something. We all want to
Hmm.
quote unquote, contribute in some way. And I know that employment can really provide that for so many
Hmm.
people, and it's unfortunate that we know that statistics for individuals with disabilities and the employment rates are well below the normal
Right.
rate for, so it really is. And then the barriers, right? Every turn it seems that there's another barrier, and I've come across this myself. So at
Hmm.
some point in the process, there's so many what potholes, I don't know how to say
Hmm.
it, it's just it's just very broken. So it's really just finding ways to be observant and insightful, and then to be able to better serve that individual and
Well,
um
and
and guide.
and Well, and that's a really good point. And so, talking about some of the employment things that we could fix as talent acquisition professionals and people working for big employers. So, look at your website. If somebody has a visual impairment, do they have a process that they can use to access your application or to look at your jobs? So that's the one thing. Second, is there an accommodation process where you have a phone number or you have an email box that you can send something that's monitored? I mean, not something that's going to go into a black hole, but something that's monitored. So let's say I have a visual impairment and I need help with completing an application. Well, if I can send an email to an email box and then somebody can walk me through and help me with that, that's a good accommodation process. Now, think about when somebody comes on site. So let's say you have 2 handicap parking places, and neither of which are close to the building. Well, is
Mm.
that going to be helpful for somebody with a mobility impairment? Or what happens if both of them are completely blocked and you have a candidate who needs, maybe they have a scooter, or maybe they walk with a cane and they really need to be close to the building? And then
Mhm.
think about when you actually get in the door. So do you have one of those push buttons that you can push so that it opens for you? What if they
Mm.
don't have enough physical strength or they have to literally sit outside the door to wait for somebody to come to open it for them so that they can come in? So there's a lot of barriers that we put up that we could
Yeah,
easily try to fix. And those are just some of the things. And so
that's
I'm
such a
sure
good
there's
one.
many, many others.
Right, and that's before they get in the door.
Right, right.
I
Exactly.
mean, that in itself has already been multiple. I do want to say, I mean, I want to give
Mhm.
love to the chat, James. Thank you so much for being so active in the chat. To hell with cancer. Look at that. Yes. I love
Love it.
it. Yeah. Let's see. Those are some thank you. Have to take baby steps. That's right.
Mhm.
And reaching out. I love to reach out. I love to be available. So When you can be that person when you can be, right?
Mhm.
Walk with a cane. So thanks, James. I do get weird
Mhm.
looks, and yeah, unfortunately, that's just society, because society sucks sometimes. But that's okay, because we who have disabilities will come out on top. Thank you, James. That's right. You know, using your abilities. I love to talk about abilities, interests, hobbies, like where's those passions lie, what puts fuel in your fire, what gets you going, and let's start there. Like, I'm not here to talk about medications and surgeries and what you can't do and what you don't know how to do. To me, that's not going to get us moving to where job seekers with disabilities need to be. And then on the flip side, talking to businesses and organizations and asking them, what are you doing? How are you implementing these practices? I remember I used to go to job fairs and I used to walk to all the different tables with HR people and say, I'm the Disability Navigator for so-and-so for my job, blah, blah, blah. You know, I just want to introduce myself and let them know, like, if you have any questions, if you don't know how to make a job accommodation, if you don't know what job accommodations is, if you have questions on disclosures, you know, reach out, or kind of putting them on the spot. You know, what kind of jobs would you have that are accommodating for someone with disability? What do you have that may be a potential job that you can carve for a specific disability, right? And then highlight that, give them, that employer, the support, the recognition for really, you know, taking that step forward. Because a lot of individuals, or I shouldn't say individuals, organizations, excuse me, and businesses are scared to change the paradigm, to change the structure, and be the one to say, hey, I, I don't sit on boards, and one day I want to. So if anybody's listening, I want to sit on a board. But, you know, people like us need to sit on boards for representation, and we've heard that a lot lately.
Right. Those are really, really good points. And one of the things I want to bring up is that there are so many disabilities that you can't see. And there are
Mm-hmm.
people all around. So they say about 20% of the population has a disability.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think about all of the people that are either caregivers for them, maybe they're
Mm,
just part of their family or a real close friend, you know somebody, so that brings it to the population just over 50%. So if you think about it, you probably know somebody close to you that has a disability. And I'm guessing that you don't think that they have limitations. So you think of their abilities, you don't think about the things that are holding them back. So think
mm-hmm.
about that when you're trying to help somebody finding a job. So maybe somebody has
Oh,
a learning disability or somebody's
right.
dyslexic. And they figured out a way that they can work around it, or they work extra hard, or they need some special accommodation. So maybe they need, when they have a meeting with their supervisor, they need
Yeah,
something in an email to follow up
that's
instead of just
true.
having everything verbal or whatever it is. So some kind of
Yeah.
accommodation. It doesn't cost anything. Maybe it takes 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes to do a follow up on an email. But again, those are really easy accommodations. And again, you can't see that disability. And you're probably
Good.
working side by side with somebody like that. And again, you probably like working with somebody like that. So why not find more opportunities like that for people with
There you go.
disabilities?
Yeah, and that's good. So you know, you brought the point about really asking them about their disability, and I do
Mhm.
agree, because once you get past like that initial motivation, let's build that confidence and
Mhm.
self-esteem, but then you're really trying to, you know, tackle those accommodations and what that looks like. How do you ask for that? People don't really even know their own accommodation that they need. I find a lot. They're like, I don't know what kind of accommodation I need. So those conversations do have to happen to explore. I know, you know. And then Jan, I love Jan, because Jan has
Wonderful.
wonderful
Hmm.
listings
Yes.
of any disability, and then what appropriate
Hmm.
accommodation would be. So hey, any HR person that's like kind of struggling, there's cheat sheets out there.
Hmm.
Just check out
Hmm.
Jan.
Hmm. So for those
Ja-
who aren't familiar with Jan, it's called askjan.org.
Let
Jan
me get
stands
that.
for Job Accommodation Network. And again, it's absolutely fabulous. It's paid for by the government. They actually sit in West Virginia. If you don't find what you need on the website, I've used this so much, to do presentations, to do case studies, to try
There we
and
go.
find accommodations for people with certain disabilities and understand a little bit more. But
Oh,
if you don't
yes.
find something on the website, you can actually call and they'll assign you to somebody who has an expertise with that specific disability. And so again, fabulous free resource,
I
free.
know.
It's definitely worth checking out because it's something that you can learn a lot from the website.
Yeah, so I put the website and
Hmm.
then my personal favorite, that accommodation search.
Yes.
Because sometimes they come to you and they're like, "Listen, I can't sit
Hmm.
for too long. I can't stand for too long. I can't, and you're just trying to figure out. And then sometimes it could be something you're not really familiar with, something that's outside of, something that's a little bit more common,
Hmm.
but fantastic. And I think they're always updating and adding it, and it's really like a
Yes.
wonderful tool. Let's see.
Hmm.
I want to go back to the chat. Oh my God, I know. I feel like there's just so much going on right now. This is such a wonderful thing to help build community. I
Hmm.
know, I know. And Mary makes such a good point. Like, if you don't know someone, you do know someone. Okay, you do.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
do. I
Yes.
actually shared that post today about cities or U.S. cities that are a lot, which cities are more accessible and which cities are
Hmm.
not. So I found that really, like
Hmm.
regionally, like you need to look at your community, and see how you can continue to make those changes. I have to do them locally. I love doing them locally. I love getting
Hmm.
loud locally. Power,
Well,
positivity, and possibilities. Yeah, Mary.
so we have two exciting things that are happening in Dallas over the next several years. But next year we have Disability in the National Conference that's going to be here in Dallas. And so they had to do all of the before announcing it work just to make sure that we had enough rooms with accessibility and that the
Right.
facility that they chose, and they haven't announced it yet, but I know we're going to be very involved. And we were actually contacted by a group in the Dallas office, kind of like the Dallas government office, because they
Mhm.
wanted the World Cup to come be Dallas be one of the cities when it's here
Yes.
in North America. And so they asked for help on the accessibility piece. And so we helped provide information on that because they're expecting to have
Wow.
upwards of 100,000 people on any one day when they come in for the games. That's a lot of people. And so if you think of
Yes.
100,000 people, think about the number of people that might have a disability of some type or form, and
Well, I
again,
think
they're from
I
all
mean,
over
we
the
could
world.
calculate half of those, or what?
Yes.
1 in 4,
Probably at
so
least
25%,
20%. Yep.
20%,
Hmm.
25%.
Yep.
And then there are
Yep.
caregivers that,
Hmm.
need they listen, I don't think that many people know that caregivers, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, get get protections under ADA law. Have you heard of that?
Well, you're not supposed, I don't know if it's protections under ADA, but
Not
you're not supposed to
protections, but
discriminate. Yes.
yeah, you got to assist a caregiver. You have to accommodate a
Hmm.
caregiver that is providing care to someone with disability. That's what I mean. So I think it's
Yes.
important to recognize that they also are recognized.
Agreed.
They should be recognized, and that they should be also considered as part of the decision making and the collaborating and the
Hmm.
conversations, given
Sure.
that the individual with disabilities gives consent, of course. But I really found that, and I found that recently in my research, so that I found that really
Hmm.
truly wonderful that caregivers do have some sort of, like,
Hmm.
consideration. Maybe
Right.
consideration would be a better word, given under
Hmm.
ADA law.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
yes. Okay. Let me get some of these comments out. I am company recruiting now. We're looking for recruits. We're looking for those that want. Aw, thanks, James.
Yay.
Yay! We want everyone to find jobs. I love that you can share your talent and help others get the world of recruitment, talent acquisition. Yes, Gabe wants to
Hmm.
jump into that world. He's in Texas, so he's a
Yay.
local. So world of
Cool. Connect
recruitment
with
programs
me
to help.
on LinkedIn. Hmm.
There you go, Gabe. Make sure you send her a message. Tell her you
Hmm.
met with her on my show.
You connect so many people, DJ. Yes.
Aw.
Yay.
Listen, I have to give her credit as due. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Gabe. Gabe was like, jump on the front of the camera the very first time. And I kind of just, watched him like a little hawk just trying to learn. So I appreciate his mentorship so, so much. Wanda said, really, I love that you're doing this. I think Gabe would be very good at talent acquisition. I mean, he's full of, and he really understands that, such an empath and such a good heart. Mackenzie says there's so many barriers to entry. Yes, in many fields. Absolutely. It doesn't take much to help make things more accessible. All I ask for is more labels on things. Thank you. Yes, we had that discussion, and I appreciate that due to the disability that, she's talking about. So feel free. I don't know if you went on to add more. Gosh, I'm really behind on the chat, Mary. Thank you. Being human, just be you. I know. I love disability. I love different. I love diversity. I love flavor. I love spice. I love I love it all. James, this is to you, Mary. I have permanent disability placard, the RMV, which I assume the driving.
Okay.
Yeah, the vehicle, whatever state is giving me the runaround. That's all, though, because of the old oxen that come out. Oh, he's such a trooper. Go James. I love the stories that he shares, but that really is so true for so many. Like that being grit, that what I said at the beginning, like the runaround is terrible. The constant sidelining, you need to wait. Let me get someone to help you, but while everybody else just keeps on coming through.
Yeah.
And it consistently pushes back our community. So meet them where they're at. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we talk a lot about that. Meet them where they're at. And I do love that. Yes. Oh, veterans. You want to talk a little bit about veterans, Mary? Let's shift
So one
focus
of the
to
things,
veterans for a little bit.
yeah, that's a really good topic. I remember several years ago where we were trying to hire more veterans, and so one of the stigmas that people had when they didn't really know many veterans, and my husband happens to be an Army veteran, so many years ago now, and one of the things that they were afraid of is PTSD. So, and every veteran doesn't have PTSD. I have met many who have, but most of them have gone through counseling. Most of them have gotten assistance, and they've dealt with it. Now it's still there. They still have the PTSD. However, they've figured out ways that they can manage it. And so maybe you need to have an accommodation where the person that you're interviewing doesn't have their back to the door. Right? Maybe they have to actually have line sight of a door, or maybe they have to
I've
have a
heard that.
more open interview room, different things like that. So again, sometimes these stigmas that you have that you think of maybe because you see them in the movies, that's not necessarily real life. And so it's not like that for everybody. And again, there's quite a variety of different disabilities that can come from the military service, especially if you're in for 15, 20, 25 years. I was surprised. So I'm working with a very large national veterans organization that helps with transition. And so I do a lot of mentoring in that space as well. We have probably 60,000 followers on LinkedIn in less than 2 years. So again,
Wow.
good network.
Yeah.
One of the things that was really surprising to me is the sheer number of people that come out of military service after, again, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they have a disability rating. But it's something where a lot of times, yeah. And maybe it happens in the service and maybe it just gets worse in the service. And, but you need to, it surprised me the number of people and the quite other
You can't
variety
tell.
of the
You can't tell.
disabilities as well.
And
Yeah,
you
you
don't know
can.
what
It's
it is.
invisible.
Right.
Right.
So it's true,
Yep.
but it's so important, and it's facts. Those are just facts. So, you'd made a very important comment about the fear that is associated. So yeah, a veteran and military service, and they're just amazing, but that stigma just still holds so true, unfortunately.
But one thing to note, there are 45,000 veteran service organizations, a lot of which, some of them are transition to employment, but there are a lot of disability related organizations as well. And so for many different types. And so again, if you don't know, there are people that want to help if you haven't gotten help already, if you need it. And again, there's so many different organizations that are there that are created just for that purpose, to help people in whatever walk of life they're in right now after their military service.
That's wonderful. And again, that goes back to meeting people where they're at, equity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Giving individuals what they need for themselves, not just everybody gets the same thing. So,
Right, right.
I do want to say hi to Mallory. Hi, Mallory.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for stopping
Hey,
by.
Mallory. Oh, I just talked to her last week. Thank you for coming, Mallory. And I
Oh,
saw,
good.
yeah, so I saw a couple other names I recognize too.
Oh, good. Yeah, we're gonna say hi to Mallory. I love. She says she has an invisible disability, and finding your work support group, your LinkedIn tribe, is so helpful during these times. So this is great. Welcome, another. You know, more people to really just stay in this
Mm-hmm.
space of creating safe and rising up together and unifying our voices and really saying these changes need to happen. People. I mean, we all know what happens when our mental health goes down and deteriorates, and we can start talking about statistics on the other side. I always like to talk about suicide awareness, bring it up just as a
Mm,
little,
yeah.
just to highlight that we have to be always consider that we don't know what other people are going through, what's in their minds, what they're feeling. And we all know, like, not being able to provide for families, not being able
Mm-hmm.
to find employment. Oh gosh, those devastating stories we hear, the ghosting we constantly hear about,
Mm-hmm.
the runaround we hear about, and it really takes a toll on our spirits and our souls. So I cannot not scream this enough from the rooftops and mountains about, this being really important. So thank you, Mallory, for being here and sharing your experience and
Mm-hmm.
story. I love how connections are happening. Like, even Chris is
Mm-hmm.
already connecting with
Mm-hmm.
Mallory, and everybody just really supporting each other and knowing that we're all just human and we all can use a little accommodations. We all need accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
embarrassed to say it.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, one of the things I've gotten used to in the pandemic world is I
Yeah.
have a hearing impairment. So right now I'm
Mm,
Bluetoothing into my phone from my hearing aids, which is wonderful. But I'm in a quiet environment, and so I don't have a whole lot of background noise. So I've been
yeah.
going into work, and my new office has a lot of noises that I'm not
Mm,
used to. Plus, everybody's required to wear a mask. I don't know if anybody else has a hearing impairment, but when you wear a mask, it's really
yes.
hard to hear. And so I had gone into my supervisor. I said, I know I'm supposed to be wearing a mask, and I'm onboarding somebody, so we're going to be with each other the whole day. I said, I'm not going to be able to hear him. So do you mind if I take off my mask? And she said that's fine. So again, sometimes you need those accommodations, and again, that didn't cost anything. I just had to ask for something like that, and she was perfectly fine. I said, and if the person's not comfortable, I said we can sit 6 feet apart. I'm fine with that, but I want to be able to hear what he's saying.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, and it's important. I think, gosh, that just talks a lot about a lot. It brings
Mm-hmm.
up masks, which is a whole nother conversation. Talking about disability, about hard of hearing. I just had that episode
Mm-hmm.
with Juana that we really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk about that, and how important, even those accommodations and the
Mm-hmm.
digital inaccessibility, and then missed opportunities, the lack of ability to connect when um those barriers are there, and someone so wonderful like Juana, because I love you, like, you miss out on meeting such amazing
Mm-hmm.
people. And James, look at that, James,
Mm-hmm.
you'd love to be on a live with. Thank you, James, that's so sweet. I know I owe you a phone call. I feel so bad. It's like so many people that you just want to have conversations with, and you want to hear their stories, and you want to honor their needs. So thank you, Cherry, for your comment. Let me see. Is there she asked a question, but I don't know if that was directed at us. Let me see. Whoop. Is this website for everywhere? I'm not sure if that was
Is that
here
the
or not.
Ask Jan? Was
The
that the
Ask
Ask
Jan.
Jan website?
Let
So
me know
what
again.
asked? Yeah. I was
That's
going to
okay.
say Ask Jan is really more for employers. It's educational, so you can probably learn something from it. But I think it's geared more towards educational institutions or employers to help with accommodations. That's my understanding, at least. Would you
They
agree,
do.
DJ?
Well, they have. I mean, they have the page for individuals. So as a job seeker, I'm looking at it
Oh,
now, and
okay.
I could share it. I
Okay.
mean, let me see. You know what? I'm
I guess
really
I
love.
haven't looked at it at the one for individuals.
Yeah, and for me, I'm usually looking at the Social Security website, and it's usually like on a providers
Hmm.
page, not the beneficiaries page. So I
Sure.
understand, but they do have, but yes, they have publications, articles, lists, libraries, and then the page for employers, and they have a page for
Hmm.
individuals that will lead you obviously to
Hmm.
other. So I can put up the website again. Ask Jan. It's
Hmm.
one N. So Jobs Accommodation Network. That's what Jan stands for.
And
And
again, free resource. So if you have a
yeah.
question about something, I would use that and go there first.
Mm-hmm. Trying to bring up some comments, but my mouse gets a little fast. Caregivers are important. Yes, I know that was during the conversation we were talking about the caregivers.
Hmm.
Um, your aunt was a home health aide for at least 30 years. I admire her so much.
Hmm.
Hard work. Home health
Hmm.
aides in
Yeah.
there. Individuals that work in all these like um independent living facilities,
Hmm.
assisted living facilities. Um, like being caregivers, even if it's someone that's not looking for work. I mean, we're just talking in general. Like
Hmm.
that is uh you work hard with those.
Big heart. Hmm.
Yeah, big heart. This is what I always talk about when I say there's so much value available free to learn from watching those find wonderful information from amazing people live streaming. Thank you,
Hmm.
Gabe. You're awesome. Okay, Cherry, I hope we answered your question. Go check it out. Share it. Let people know. People need to know there's like resources out there and amazing resources like that. Um, let's see. Connect. This is unfair. I'm trying to read. Open the door. Let's see what this one says. An open door interview is actually really important for
Hmm.
many people. Okay. I know a
Hmm.
firefighter who had PTSD and it doesn't like enclosed spaces or even small rooms. So
Hmm.
yeah. You just don't
Yep.
know really when someone's caring in their heart and in their mind. So they're just talking about Five Finger Death
I
Punch.
love
I
coffee.
love it. Oh, you love coffee? I know. I love coffee too.
I
I
do.
have like 2 or 3 cups, but not after 3. Not
I
after
drink too
3.
much. Yeah.
Okay. I love the connections. Gabe's connecting with Mallory now
Hmm.
too. Mallory, I'm so excited. Only speaks Sow. How do you say that? Hi DJ. Mary only speaks Little Cajun in Texas. Someone help me. What is that? Cajun in Texas.
Would it
What
be
language
so?
that is? So?
I can only see half the word, so
Oh, it's Seaux. French, I would assume. Like,
is it would it be so? AUX is O in
yeah,
French.
that's what I thought.
So for my
Rosemary,
my
welcome. Yeah, I think so. Amazing information. Thank you, Rosemary, for always being such a wonderful supporter of the show. We do try to bring valuable information and make this worthwhile. Um, let's see, LinkedIn user, another one saying hi, Mary. I'm not sure who that is, so if you know or if you want to share your name, you can.
Mhm.
Um, I was trying to put a list together of great organizations and websites that are great at employing people. Me too. I've been working on that. Yeah, so me too. We need to highlight and advocate and just like give all the kudos to those amazing organizations that really put DEI in the forefront
So
and like
so
really
one of the
making.
things I'm going to shout out is Disability In has a campaign that says
Mhm.
that's called Are You In? And so these are CEOs that have to sign a pledge that they are in, and they are in for employing more people with disabilities. So what I would suggest is going to the disabilityin.org website. And I'm part of the Disability in North Texas group, so we're the local one, but the national organization has tons of employers that have best practices. They also have a questionnaire that you can complete, um, and you can actually, if you don't score 80%, that's okay. You still get to use all of the best practices that they share. And so they just encourage you to get better and better every year. So again, lots of really great information and great companies that participate. One of the things that I've really enjoyed participating in the last 2 years is Microsoft, the Ability
Mm.
Summit. And I don't know if anybody's done that before. It's completely free.
Oh,
I learned about it last year for the 10th anniversary, and you still can see YouTube videos if you do
mhm.
abilities, hashtag Ability Summit or Microsoft Ability Summit on YouTube. And so again, wonderful, wonderful speakers, but they do an excellent job not only of employing people with disabilities, but when they create their products, they include people with disabilities at the beginning. So they don't create
Yes.
everything and then employ
And
people with
then go back.
disability to see how to use it, but they do it at the beginning. So incredible, incredible stuff. So but again, there's a lot of really wonderful companies that are doing good things besides just Microsoft.
Yes. Yes, 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 lots. Okay. Okay, we got a correction on the pronunciation. It's pronounced Sue. So thank you,
Sue,
Fighting
okay.
Cherry.
Okay. Like Sioux
Okay,
City, right?
Native American. Yes, it is. Now that you
Mm-hmm.
mention it, you're right. I was thinking French. I'm sorry. I'm not a linguist. I don't know too much about language. So thank you. Okay. Yeah, it is said like Sue. Okay, we're getting
Mm-hmm.
confirmation. No, wait. Mallory says so. The Cajun
Oh,
way.
I was thinking she
Uh-oh.
said Cajun, so I was thinking that was French, but
Okay, see, that's where I went. I started thinking Louisiana, like
yep.
French, Texas, you move in like French court, right? Like a lot of yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, we're gonna get off topic. We need to stay on topic. It's very easy for me to get squirrely, I believe. Thank you, Cherry. But this has been fun. Yeah, no, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sharing information. I love that. I always gain information when you share. So yes, Mary is a wealth of knowledge, and I knew she would be perfect for this episode. I knew she would just give us all these good, wonderful like bits of information and takeaways. So how could we not? How could I not have Mary to share this special episode with? I just like knew. I've
I
been
think we're
saving you
Wonder
for
Twins,
months.
right? We're Wonder Twins. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saving you for months. The Wonder Twins, I love it. This has been great. I think so. Juana,
Yeah.
yes, thank you. Right, so much expertise. Let's see, what else did we did? Is there any questions that I put in the? Let's see, how can we learn what we've learned through this pandemic? Implementing job
Mm-hmm.
accommodations, we covered a little bit, and really assisting individuals with disabilities to obtain jobs. So we talked a little bit about um, the application process, talked about equity and business
Mm-hmm.
practices. So I think we did pretty good for the most part. We covered a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that I
Mm-hmm.
knew that we wanted to talk about. As we wrap up, we got 10 minutes and we'll keep
Mm-hmm.
talking to the chat. Chat, any last questions? Please throw them to Mary. And if you want to look over your notes, Mary, if there's anything else that we haven't really quite covered that you want to
Mm-hmm.
go back to, let me know.
So I do want to cover something. I want to challenge everybody. So whether you're an employer, whether you're a job seeker, whether you're a hiring manager, or whether you're an ally for people with disabilities, I want to encourage you to do something. So do something different. Take the discussion that we had, take some of the wonderful comments that we had from listeners, and do something. Whether that's, one of the things that I think is a big thing for hashtags. So when somebody
Oh,
uses a screen reader, if you don't capitalize the first letter of every single word, so my name is Mary Elizabeth Richardson. So you want to capitalize the M, the E, and the L. So think about capitalizing the first letter for each of those words, because if you don't, the screen reader, they won't know when to separate the words and they won't know how to read it. So think about things like that. Think about what can you do in terms of reaching out to help somebody find a job or navigate the process for finding a job with, either on LinkedIn, or maybe you have something within your company, or maybe you can connect them to somebody as well. I have people all the time reaching out to me, but again, it's the power of the network and how you can connect people and how you can help people. Think about mentoring. Is there somebody in your neighborhood? Is there somebody at your church? Is there somebody at your place of employment that you can help mentor to bring them to a whole new opportunity and a new world, you know. So think about
Yeah.
different things like that.
Yeah. I mean, look
So
at
do
your
something.
paperwork. Look at the printing, the size, the
Hmm.
fonts. Consider your presentations. Are they super
Yeah.
animated? The colors, the font sizes. Do not put 12 font. I mean, I sat through a workforce conference recently, for a couple days, and some of the presentations, like I sit in the back and I have fairly good eyesight, but I still struggle to see them. So I just feel like
Hmm.
sometimes in presentations, just those small
Hmm.
things, just considering what your presentation looks like, the size of the font. And when you said screen reader, it triggered that PowerPoint or Google,
Hmm. Hmm.
when you're making those PowerPoints, using the outline, the screen reader will read what's in the outline. So, things like that you don't know.
Hmm.
Image, your caption in the images, the alt
Hmm.
text, I should say,
Yes.
is the proper term, really does
Hmm.
help again with screen
Yep.
readers. So those little things. But I know that people always say, "Oh, well, it's time consuming," and it's just, it's so much to do. But unfortunately, that's take that time. Take the time. Take the
But
time.
I think you can do one thing.
What?
And once maybe you do one thing, you capitalize each word on your hashtags. Okay, that literally takes what, an extra 2 seconds, maybe. So that's not really hard. Or maybe you have somebody who has a visual impairment and you need to print things off with bigger font.
Mhm,
That probably doesn't take, all you do is you highlight the
mhm.
entire document and you increase it from 12 to 15 or
Yeah.
12 to 16 or 20 or something like that. So again, fairly easy.
Yeah. I think, there's just lots of little things we can do once we really start
Mhm.
thinking and we start really looking and analyzing our own processes.
Right.
Nobody could do it.
Mm.
I always talk about that. No one can really do the work but you. You have to implement those processes, just like upper management, senior management, board, like leadership team, really. It comes from the top down, to really like move forward that mission and really like let your team, let your staff know like this is important. This needs to be
Mhm.
prioritized.
Right. I mean,
That's
there's somebody that I work with on my board of directors for Disability in North Texas, and
mhm.
they have a sign language club that they are sponsoring at work. He works for Fidelity, and they have people who are hearing impaired, and so they wanted to be able to converse better using sign language, and so they started a
Oh,
club. And so, what a great idea to be able to be more inclusive. So, I mean, that's another creative thing to do.
welcoming. And then it
Hmm.
gets other individuals that may would have never said, "Hey," or could benefit, and you don't
Right.
know that maybe they have a family
Hmm.
member that,
Right.
is signing. So it was just amazing. Yeah, I just, it's one thing I do also want to add is
Hmm.
when website accessibilities, when you're building your websites, we're all entrepreneurs here. I know a lot of y'all are
Hmm.
entrepreneurs with side hustles. Look at your websites, put the little accessibility thing in there to make the font bigger, smaller,
Hmm.
the colors, the spacing, the text reader. I could go on and on. There's a bunch. Um, just try to tell your web developer or to see
Hmm.
how you can make your website more accessible. 2-click method. I love the 2-click method. I mean, listen, between 2 clicks, I'm
Hmm.
already lost into something
Hmm.
else. So I can only
Yep.
imagine someone with a disability, right? Our attention span is that of a fly at this point. Um, but if we could all just practice 2 clicks to get to where we need to be and really making it clean and efficient in those processes, it really would help out so many people, me included. But those little things like that, right? Just being
Hmm.
observant, being aware, knowing what you can do and what you can ask for,
Hmm.
dropping
Well, in
hints.
most, I mean, well, yeah, and to talk about accommodations again, most accommodations are less than $500, and a lot of them are free. You don't have to pay anything.
Yes, I was almost going to say something, but then I didn't want to say it. But I do believe there's organizations out there that do get federal dollars to assist with accommodations expenses. But that needs to be researched. But yes, there are agencies out there that have federal dollars, federal funding to assist with those accommodations if you don't, like, your business doesn't have the funding, or you know, you need help. So there's agencies out there that want to help. It's no reason, right?
Right.
I think now at the time that we live in and how really we're continue to push this to the forefront, and you know, just continue to advocate for these things, it just makes the process just that much more easier, I think, for all of us that are in it together. Because they hear it from you, they hear it from me, they hear it from Chris, they hear it from James, they hear it from Mackenzie, they hear it from Gabe. I mean, we're all in the fight. They hear it from Juana, and that's just really, I think it just says, okay, you know what? It's important. A lot of people need this, and it needs to be considered. It needs to be implemented. So, sorry, soapbox. Oh, Mary. Well, thank you.
Well, this has been wonderful. I have loved the interaction. You, DJ, I always love hearing your shows. So it was just such an honor when you reached out and asked me to participate. Thank you to the people that I know, the people that I've met who are going to become networking contacts and friends.
Yes.
I am so excited to meet you and continue this relationship. And we're all in this together, and we're just all trying to move forward and help people. So that's what we're doing.
That's it. That's what we're doing. So we're making communities, we're staying connected, interacting with each other's pages, supporting each other's social medias, right? So,
Yeah.
Mary, what social media do you, so you said you're on LinkedIn and you have your website, right?
Yes, we have
Okay.
we have our website as well, but it's probably best to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most
Okay.
active.
I know. I prefer that too. A quick, hi, Maria. Thanks for popping in just to say hi. It's fine. We're wrapping up. We appreciate you and your wonderful presence. It's always nice to have friends from LinkedIn come in. So, Chris, we'll definitely get in touch. We will. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone that's been here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the hellos, the hearts, the emoji. Oh, you can't see those. Okay. The emojis. We'll just go with the words. A wonderful show. I just love this community. The most supportive, wonderful, loving people, right? All right, my dear. Well, let's say
Agreed.
our goodbyes. Thank you again,
Good.
Mary, so much.
Thank you.
You've been
And this
so
was a
great.
wonderful way to start ending. I am just, I've been thrilled for the last month. So thank you.
Yes, a lot of work to be doing this month for
Yes.
us. I know. At least with my organization, not on LinkedIn, but we're here to do the work. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for being here, and we're gonna wave and say goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.